Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure having the team here with us who could present a few words. Now, coming to the Green Career Guidance session. Climate action isn't just about passion, and it can be a career. If you have ever wondered how to turn your interest in sustainability into a profession, then this next session is definitely for you. We have with us Dr. Nitant Mate, MD of Sea Green Solutions, who will guide us through endless possibilities in renewable energy, environmental policy, and a sustainable entrepreneurship. Do make it a point to take notes, start thinking, and ask questions about how you can make an impact. I would like to request Dr. Nitant Mate to kindly come on stage to address the youth.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you, PIC, for this opportunity. Actually, I'm not going to talk about a job. I'm going to talk about what kind of opportunities are there in sustainability and renewable energy field, specifically for from now and the future. So, setting the context, we have been listening to everybody talk, and we are talking about global warming, we are talking about climate emergency, we are talking about climate change, we are talking about carbon emissions, we are talking about environmental degradation. There are words like sustainable development goals, and number of activities are happening in the world over because there has been a problem with the way we have been operating as humanity and dealing with the nature and dealing with the world. In fact, we have been exploiting the nature left, right, and center, and nature has never said anything back to us. Only thing is, nature has acted now, and we have understood that what we have been doing is not so good. And that is why corrective actions are required, and those corrective actions are what are creating the opportunities for the youth now. So you can look at everything as a problem, or you can look at every problem as an opportunity. So here I would say that this problem has created opportunities for the youth, and we should look at it more like opportunities rather than problem. Of course, I'm not going to read my slides saying that, we have degraded the environment in so and so manner, and there have been problems of air pollution, and air pollution probably is the larger killer than road accidents or whatever. I mean, those kinds of statistics and numbers I'm not going to talk, but I'm going to say that, look, we live in a country which has been very fortunate. India has fantastic natural resources, and that means we can actually lead the world in demonstrating, showing how one can act and make everything sustainable. And that is why even the population of India for me is not a problem, but is an opportunity. Here we are in a country which is like 20% of the world's population. And that means if I have to create a business, start selling things, I don't need to go abroad and sell anything. I have 20% of the world right next to me. And that is how we should look at it, and that is where our opportunities lie. Only thing is, we should be aware of what kind of opportunities are there, and that is why I'm going to try and put something in front of you so that we are aware of what is happening. Last year, November, we heard about COP29. Now we are talking about COP30, which is going to be in Brazil. So that means it is actually the number of countries in the world coming together and trying to discuss about the action plans that the countries are going to do and commitments that the countries are going to do to alleviate the problem that we have created through environmental degradation of various types. So there could be targets taken for emission reduction. There could be targets taken for alleviating climate change, address the damage that has been created. In the morning, Malik sir told about, tipping points. So we have reached tipping points in many cases, but we have still not reached in few places. So those are the places where we have to work. And most importantly, while we are looking at the environment and environmental problems, we have to also make sure that we have our livelihood. So we earn money, we live comfortably, we live longer, because that's what human beings always are looking for, right? I mean, why are we doing everything? Because we want to live a healthy life. We want to live a happy life. And when you want to do that, when you are able to do that, you call yourself a developed nation or a developed country. Unfortunately, what has been happening is, like in the morning, Malik sir pointed out and then he left it at that. He said, everybody is measuring GDP. We want development and we measure GDP. These are two different things. Okay? So development is not measured, GDP is measured because it's easy to measure. And when we start measuring GDP, what we are saying is, year on year, how much more money I am making. As a country, if I am a business, I would say how much year on year I am increasing my turnover. How much am I growing? The economics guys who are sitting here, they would say, okay, what is the year on year increase, growth of my country, of my company, or year on year, what is the GDP increase? India's GDP, people are talking about 6% to 8%. That's the level at which the GDP is growing. The problem is, when we start measuring GDP, when we start measuring turnover, it very clearly indicates that that means you have to increase the products and services, the number of products and services. So if I'm manufacturing a car and if my turnover is going to increase, either I have to increase the cost of the car or I have to increase number of cars that I am selling. And usually it's always number of cars that I am selling, the number of cars I am manufacturing. So that means I am actually manufacturing more. That means I am actually consuming more. And that means I am growing. Only thing is, I am measuring growth, whereas I want to be developed. So these are two different things. And that is where your opportunities are going to come. You have to help change the paradigms and then start doing right things, and still there are opportunities in that. We will see how. So the kind of targets the countries have taken, this is where your opportunities start coming in. India, for example, we have said that by 2070 we want to be carbon neutral. As Malik sir pointed out, carbon neutrality is just first step. We want to be carbon negative. We want to create carbon sinks. We have to actually reduce the carbon dioxide which is there already emitted. So we have to go much beyond that. But at least by 2070, carbon neutrality. 50% of that we should achieve, 50% of our energy should be from renewable energy, and that's what something that we want to achieve by 2030. That means if I am going to work in the field of renewable energy, I have opportunities. What kind of opportunities, we will see. If I am going to work in carbon sequestration, I have opportunities. What kind of opportunities, we will see. But all these targets that the country is taking actually is telling you that, look, if you as a youngster want to get into business, you as a youngster want to find out how your livelihood is going to come from, look at this. This is where the country is going to go. This is what the country is going to need. This is what the world is going to need from the country. And this is where your opportunities are going to come in. So essentially, because of that, the country also ends up creating policies which are conducive to these changes those the country is trying to make. So we will say that there are a number of missions, like National Solar Mission was there. So National Bioenergy Mission is there. Hydrogen Mission is there. So all kinds of missions. In fact, if I were to look at Malik sir, he would say that small size nuclear program, nuclear electricity generation programs, those are going to be there. So the future is different, and the future is going to create opportunities. Only thing is, we have to be ready. We have to be educated. We have to be aware. We have to have the skill sets to be able to handle those kinds of opportunities, and that is where you have to become ready. These opportunities are coming because we have made a mess of things, and these opportunities are coming because we need to change our paradigm. And when we shift our paradigm, opportunities are going to come. So I'm saying that these are not the problems, but these are opportunities. And the way we are shifting our paradigm, I talked about the first one, don't measure growth, look at development. Okay? Now that is extremely important. Second thing I already touched. You are increasing consumption because you are measuring growth. Consumption is non-sustainable. We are looking at sustainability. Consumption is not sustainable because the resources on earth are limited. We cannot keep on robbing the earth and expect that it is going to be business as usual. It's not going to be. The earth is going to kind of shrug once in a while, and then there will be a pandemic, then there will be tsunami, then there will be drought, and then there will be all kinds of things, and we will not be ready for it. So we have to change. We have to move away from consumption to conservation. So that creates opportunities. Do you have technologies? You have innovation, which is going to help you in conservation. That is something that is going to create opportunities for you. Now, we always talk about waste. So waste treatment is something that we talk about. But like somebody said in the morning, that we are not looking at the end of the pipe. We are looking at the beginning of the pipe. If you look at that, then you have to reduce the waste. Just like you have to reduce the consumption, you have to reduce the waste. Don't generate waste, first of all. So find technologies which are not wasting. Find opportunities where waste reduction is possible. Like energy efficiency, for example. People underestimate energy efficiency. We say that, we will go for renewable energy. Everybody is talking about solar, everybody is talking about wind. But the low-hanging fruit in this entire thing is energy efficiency. You know how much energy efficiency will save in terms of energy consumption? About 26% of our consumption can be reduced just by implementing energy efficiency. Now that is an opportunity. So if I have an electrical engineer, I would say that, look, okay, I will study the way you are consuming energy. I will find out energy conservation opportunities for you. I will find out energy efficiency increase opportunities for you. I will help you go from incandescent lights to CFLs, from CFLs to LED, and we will reduce consumption and we will create. If I'm a business kind of person, not an engineer, I will still try and work with this, trying to create financing opportunities for that. Okay, so there are a number of ways in which all these paradigm shifts are going to create opportunities for us. And as youth, we have to be very, very much ready for that. We have to be aware of that. You have to be master of all. Okay, not jack of all, almost master of all. But at least we have to be jack of all. Okay, so we have to at least know everything. You cannot say that I'm a mechanical engineer. I work with biogas. I work with microbes. Okay, I should not say that, look, mechanical engineer, microscope, microbes, bacteria, I don't know anything about bacteria. I cannot do that because as an engineer, I have to create solutions. As an engineer, I have to create solutions which are interdisciplinary. So in this, I will show you how interdisciplinary things are. But while I am doing all that, I'm going to go a little more philosophical in this and say that everybody was talking about responsibility, okay? And that comes from the way we have been brought up, okay? So how I was educated, okay? What are my values? And I think going further, putting your values in the right position is also extremely important. So although it is a bit tangent to what I'm talking right now, I will still want to impress upon you that putting your values in the right place is also very important. And for me, after thinking a lot, I have considered 4 values which are very important for the future of humanity. And first value is respect. Okay? Respect for all. Respect for everything. If we had respect for earth, if we had respect for resources, we would have used them much better. Okay? So respect is first value. Second value is freedom. If I am willing to have freedom, I should be willing to give freedom also. Okay, so if I am responsible, if I am respectful, and if I am expecting freedom, I should be able to give freedom to people. So if I'm doing something which is kind of, imposing on someone else's freedom, then my freedom ends there. And this is something that I have to keep in mind. Third value, I'm talking about value, and third value for everybody to survive is sustainability. So sustainability is a value. So like when we were growing up, people would say that you should always tell truth. Say telling truth is a value. Okay. So something like that, I'm saying sustainability is the ultimate truth. That's something that you have to nurture as a value. And if you do that, then everything is possible. And fourth value, which is according to me extremely important, is truthfully follow all these values. And that value is integrity. So you have to have integrity, you have to have trust in what you are doing, and people should be able to put trust in you. And then everything is possible. So as youth, if I'm going to be looking at livelihood, if I have the right values in place, if I have the right paradigms, then I have tremendous opportunities. So, and I'm saying these are opportunities in development and sustainability. I'm not going to read all that, but essentially what you have is whatever solutions we are going to give, my solution should be such that I'm able to give it today, and for next 1,000 years, that kind of solution is still possible. So I'm going to create technologies, solutions which are really sustainable. So my generation, my next generation, generation next to that, and maybe 100 generations from today, if the earth is still surviving, this kind of technology should survive. Those are the kinds of solutions that one should be looking at. And then one more thing, that we talked about one of the paradigm shifts as renewable energy. So opportunities in renewable energy are extremely important, but at the same time you have to understand that renewable resources are decentralized. So we should be able to provide decentralized solutions. And that means I don't have to go work in Mumbai to do something. I can be in my village and still have opportunities and the skill sets which are going to provide me the livelihood and opportunities. Maybe a business opportunity, or it may be an opportunity where because I have skills, I can get a job. Okay, so even building a biogas plant is a skill, and I can have that. Or servicing a solar photovoltaic system is a skill, so I can have that. So, or maybe number of renewable energy applications are there, and I create a service company which is going to give services to all that. And that is absolutely possible. So, for example, if you know solar photovoltaic, everybody is talking about rooftop solar. Okay. Now, the problem is rooftop solar, whatever you do, you have to clean it. Because if you don't clean the panels, the sun rays are not going to fall on the solar cells. And if they don't fall on the solar cells, or the intensity of sun rays on solar cells goes down, the output is going to go down. So in India, it is recommended that at least once in every 15 days, you clean all the panels. Now, if I create a business where I say that, look, these are 50 different homes where there are, systems, and I tell them that, okay, every month I will clean your system 2 times. So whatever schedule I am going to put, I'm going to do that, and that creates, I have become my own business owner. Okay, so that has created opportunity. Or maybe somebody has a biogas plant. I can go say that, look, every day at 7 in the morning, I'll come and feed your biogas plant. Because people have money to put up the plant, but people don't have the tenacity and the discipline that is required to feed the biogas plant. So all these things are going to create different kind of opportunities, and that is where you have to remember that, look, these are the solutions. These are the solutions for the future. These are decentralized, and I have opportunities where I am. I don't have to go to Mumbai or Hyderabad or Bangalore or Pune to have my livelihood. That doesn't define my livelihood if I have the right kind of approach. And if we are looking at that, then you can really have, sustainable solutions, and being driven by the youth, people who are doing businesses or people who are doing jobs in the businesses which are providing installation, commissioning, servicing for sustainable energy solutions. So I think I'm going to skip that slide, but one thing is there that when we are giving solutions, we are, see, in the olden days, we used to say that we are now talking about circular economy. In the olden days, we used to say we give solutions cradle to grave. Okay? So you start something, at the end of life, up to that point, you are giving solution. But now we have changed it. We are giving solution from cradle to cradle. That means you start something, at the end of its life, it gets recirculated. Or it, end of life, end of output of one thing becomes the input for the other thing. And that's how the circular economy works. Okay? So recycling, and as Gurudas rightly pointed out, first is refusing. I don't want it. You start with that, but at the same time, if you refuse, you still want to have solutions, and that is where the thing comes in, that circular economy is going to give you different kind of opportunities. And this is going to happen not like a magic wand. You have to go step by step. Suppose, what kind of opportunities? For example, if I have a solution which is going to be, recycling of water. So I can go work with a corporate and say that, look, as a corporate, if you take up a target that by next 10 years, my per capita consumption in my corporate environment, maybe it's an IT company, or if it's a manufacturing company, per unit consumption for per product that I am manufacturing of water, I'm going to reduce by 25%. Okay? So this is not going to happen just one shot. It's going to, over the years, maybe 5% one year, another 5% next year. So every time you have to go one step beyond and give a more efficient solution and create those solutions, and those are going to give you opportunities. So all these are different things. You can think out of the box completely. You can create software, you can create solutions where you start transacting not in terms of money, but in terms of carbon credits, or maybe in terms of emissions that you are doing, or maybe in terms of emissions those are reducing, or maybe in terms of savings that you are doing in water. So basically, a mentee of mine, he has something called Water Bank Foundation. Okay, and in the Water Bank Foundation, he has created a software and started a program called Barter Water. Okay, now fantastic. What is Barter Water doing? They are kind of encouraging people to do environmentally responsible actions, and when they provide a proof of those actions, he says that, okay, if you are, for example, if you are collecting plastic, and if you bring me 100 kg of plastic, I'm going to give you a token, and that token is going to give you 100 liters of clean drinking water. So basically, it's a socially responsible idea. So he gets donors. He gets donors to put a clean drinking water production plant in the village, and he creates a ATM kind of an arrangement where you have cards, and he says that, okay, if this village is going to be part of our Barter Water, then this is one thing. Maybe second thing is I'm keeping my road clean, and you give me the proof of that I'm keeping road in front of my house clean. And okay, if I do that for a month, I get 30 liters of water. So these kinds of things. So you can create ideas for business which are completely out of the box. And you can still make money out of it, and you can still make a responsible society out of it. And those are the kinds of opportunities that you will get. So don't get boggled down because there are no opportunities. Opportunities are to be created. This is a very busy slide. I'm not going to read this slide, but what I want to tell you is energy, food, water, health, and waste. These are the 5 different colored columns that we have on the top. And then on the left-hand side, rows-wise, there is engineering solutions, there are technology solutions, there are pure science solutions, and there are others. And there are subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, blah, blah, blah. And every black dot that you see in those indicates that for having solutions in energy, for example, if it's solar energy, then you will need physics, you will need chemistry, you won't need biology, but you will need mathematics and you will need all kinds of stuff. So basically, if you are looking at what kind of skills and what kind of awareness I should have, you would realize that you have to be, I was telling you about being jack of all. So you will have to be jack of all. You have to be aware of what is happening. So basic education that you have had, school education, some basic physics, some basic chemistry, that understanding if you have, then you have opportunities. So I'll just quickly look at what kind of career opportunities one would have. And the areas, of course, I mean, resource efficiency, waste management, energy efficiency, pollution control, transportation and infrastructure, IT related, integration with IT, and now, balance of developments and all kinds of stuff. So this is not a complete list, but this is the kind of list that one can look at. Okay? And then if I were to look at part of that list and say what kind of opportunities you have. So for example, resource efficiency, if I'm looking at that, then first of all, if I'm going to say that I'm going to be efficient, that means first of all, you have to know where you stand. So first thing is measurement and audits. That is an opportunity. Okay, so you can see there is something called energy auditor. Have you heard of energy audits? Right? So energy auditor, there are exams for energy audit. And energy auditor can go and audit the energy and sign saying that, look, I mean, your energy audit says that, in steam, you can save so much. In electricity, you can save so much. And so create the audit and create places, identify opportunities where you can actually reduce consumption. So reduce, reuse, recycle, that is of course there. Then you can also identify what kind of systems, if you can put in place, you will be able to use resources more pragmatically or more effectively. So those kinds of things. And then if you are an engineer, you can go into microgrids and other things. So everywhere, it's not just one type of job, there are multiple types of jobs which are available. Okay, waste management, again, you start with audits and then segregation and recycling and converting waste to energy, converting, upcycling waste, all kinds of opportunities will be there. Or energy efficiency, of course, you have plenty of opportunities in energy efficiency. Pollution control, we talked about pollution. So pollution control, pollution measurement, pollution management, okay, pollution control equipment, servicing, that is also there. Designing, engineering, all kinds of jobs will be there. And of course, I mean, if you have enough money and if you have enough tenacity, then manufacturing also is possible. So all those things are there. Then transportation, of course, number of opportunities will be there in transportation. And there could be, I mean, you don't have to start a manufacturing plant for a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, but you can start servicing plant. You can talk about, okay, if there are people who are buying electric vehicles, then I can go and say that, look, I will give you solar chargers for your electric vehicle. So that can be a business opportunity. Or you can say that, look, I have a solar charging station. You can come and charge your electric vehicle at my solar charging station. So that is also a possibility. Or third possibility, you can put a solar plant somewhere and say that, look, I am already putting so much electricity in the grid, and if you buy electricity from me in XYZ location, then I can ensure that the electricity you are buying is actually produced by solar. So those kinds of opportunities. So number of ways in which you can create opportunities and start working on that. In transportation, of course, green hydrogen. Hydrogen is the name everybody is taking today. So hydrogen is a very clean fuel. You can actually drink the exhaust. So exhaust is water, pure water. I've seen in early 90s, there were pictures of people who are actually putting a glass at the exhaust of a bus and then drinking that. Okay, it's the purest water that you can get, H2O. Okay, so hydrogen is an opportunity now. In hydrogen also there are a number of opportunities. So you can get into hydrogen manufacturing, you can get into hydrogen storage, you can get into hydrogen research and development. You can get into some innovative solutions. You can, get some hydrogen, pump station or whatever kind of business. I mean, n number of businesses are possible. So basically, in sustainability, there could be lot many businesses. Or you can say that, look, I have enough money, so I will own hydrogen infrastructure and rent it. So basically, it's like saying that I have these cartridges which I have bought, and then I have a cartridge refilling station, and I have these cartridges. You can come and replace, just like you replace battery, you can replace hydrogen cartridges. So it's a cartridge vending machine. So you don't even think about how things are going to move, and so many opportunities are there. You have to imagine, you have to create that opportunity that this new technology is going to give. And IT, I don't have to tell. I mean, everybody is all gaga about IT. Now everybody is all gaga about AI. So AI probably is not going to reduce jobs. It's going to increase jobs. It depends on how effectively we use AI. Okay? So essentially what I'm trying to say is sustainability, need for sustainability is created because of the problem of climate change. Actually, need for sustainability was there since day one of humanity. As Indian society, we have been sustainable all through. Okay. Only thing is, when the West came out with the Industrial Revolution, that is the time when we started moving away from our sustainable background into non-sustainable things. Because industrialization created these machines which required large-scale manufacturing. Now, when large-scale manufacturing is required, that means you have to create market. So that means advertisements started coming in. And that means you also started consuming more. You wanted more people to buy things. Okay. When Britishers came here, India was 40% of world's GDP. And when Britishers left from here, India was less than 4% of world GDP. So we were completely robbed of that. But not just that. We were made fools and we actually started walking the wrong path. Here is a time when correction is required and correction is possible. And that has created opportunities. And I think that is something that we have to focus on. This is not a problem. This is an opportunity, not an opportunity. These are number of opportunities, those are there. And if somebody is smart, that somebody should be able to get those. I have number of slides beyond this also, but I am going to stop at this point in time because I think it's important that I keep it short and sweet. And if there are any questions, I'll try to answer because after this, I have very specific slides about energy efficiency, what kind of opportunities and things like that, but I don't think we should go there. So thank you very much for listening to me patiently. And if there are questions, I would be happy to answer. Yes.
So I had one question. So, sir, the career parts we have seen, so it's basically more of a science-oriented stream, making the technology or working on it. So, as a student of economics, what possible career do we have, like, as a?
Okay. See, as I said, I mentioned it briefly, but let me try to explain with some examples. Okay. So now, if I were to look at economics, so basically financing is one area where a lot of opportunities exist. So things could be starting from very simple. If you have heard about carbon credits, you know what carbon credits are? You know that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So basically, if somebody is actually reducing carbon emissions by 1 ton, then that emission reduction of 1 ton will get 1 carbon credit. Okay. So as an economist, you can work on measuring those emission reductions. You can work on keeping track of those emission reductions. You can work on baseline determination of that emission reduction. You can work on certifying of those emission reductions. You can work on valuing those emission reductions, because as a world, although United States has pulled out of that, number of countries in the world are still very serious about emission reduction, and they are talking about, if I am not able to do emission reduction myself, if you are doing it, can I have credit for that? Okay, see, this is a mechanism where, see, let me tell you, if I am already efficient, okay, say I'll give you another example, it's easier. If I'm studying, okay, and if I get 80 marks, okay, I have studied to some level and I'm getting 80 marks, but if I have to go from 80 to 85, the amount of efforts I have to put are much larger as compared to going from 0 to 80, right? Same thing happens with emission reductions also. So if I'm efficient in my process, and if I'm already emitting less, but I'm committing as an organization that year on year I will reduce emissions. But to do that, I have to put number of systems in place. I have to put new equipment in place. That is going to cost me quite a lot. So what is via media for me? The via media could be that somebody is able to give me a guarantee that if I wanted to reduce, say, 100 tons of carbon dioxide emissions, but if I wanted to do that in my own setup, that would have costed me, say, 10 crore rupees. Okay, but in his setup, he is still walking from 0 to 80. Okay, so for his setup, instead of 10 crores, it's going to happen in less than 50 lakh rupees. So I will say that, look, I will help you with those 50 lakh rupees. You give me the credit of emission reduction. So this is where the economics comes in. This is just one example. There are a number of such opportunities which are there in businesses where economy is extremely important, because unfortunately, all said and done, economy and measurement in terms of money is something that we understand. We don't understand anything else. And that is why, as an economist, your role is going to be very important. Demand supply, extremely important. You have to, so there is demand for carbon credits, there is limited supply of carbon credits. They will be charged heavily. So there are carbon credits available at like $100 per ton of carbon dioxide emission. So this is where you have to, another opportunity I'll just tell you. You can see there have been examples where people have gone back to barter. Okay, so economics is basically demand supply and value. So value is always perceived, cost is measured, value is perceived. Okay, so everything is valued, and you can create barter systems. There are villages where people have stopped using, in Europe, in few places, some examples are there that they have stopped using currency, but they are transacting. So you can create solutions for such transactions. Okay, so completely different game. Okay, but when you want to transact outside of that village, then that needs to be monetized somewhere. So again, putting up systems for that. So these kinds of opportunities will be there. Sorry, you had a follow-up question. Yeah.
Sir, it's cleared actually.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, can we create a solar system which is parallel in between the national highways of means whole nations, like in between the highways, solar panels?
So that means the going and coming, those lanes are there, and in between there is a
Yes,
empty place, and you can put anywhere. There's absolutely no problem. Only thing is, you have to remember that when you put up a solar system, you have to have access to that, because I told you every 15 days you need to clean it. Okay, so that cleaning has to be possible, that access has to be possible. The grid has to be close by. You have to, because it has to be linked with the grid. And then security, unfortunately, is another issue, is something that needs to be handled properly. So if these, so non-technical issues are there actually. Most of the issues I am talking about are non-technical issues. So if those non-technical issues can be sorted out, then you can put solar anywhere.
Hello, sir. I'd like to ask the same question she did, but in the context of psychology. I mean, it's a very human centric sort of a discipline, so I would really appreciate it if you could share some light on that.
Actually, if you looked at one of the slides I had in there, that was about values. Okay, and I think the most important thing is awareness building, and then creating ownership kind of scenario. So, for example, we were working very closely with tribal schools. Okay, so in tribal schools, the Tribal Development Department of Government of Maharashtra had put in a lot of renewable energy systems. Okay, and 99% of them were not working. Okay, and it's not because the systems were bought. Okay, it's because there was no feeling of ownership in the students. So, I mean, there are solar water heating systems which are made of glass tubes. Those glass tubes are vacuum tubes. So when the tube breaks, it kind of gives an explosion. So the kids had broken the tubes just to hear the explosion. Okay, so these kinds of things happen. So this is where education, value system, psyche of the students, psyche of the teachers, psyche of the people around is extremely important. Because, and as a psychologist, if you can create programs which are not just skilling programs, but are also programs which engage people. Okay, so engaging people is extremely important. So if like the debate that we saw, whether individual is important or government is important, and I believe that no matter what happens, individual has to implement that, and from within the individual has to feel that this is something that that individual wants to do, or this is good for that individual, and that can happen only when the individual is engaged with that. So understanding the psyche of people, getting into the psyche of people, and then pushing the seeds of sustainability in their heads is something which is extremely important. So you can start with creating even games where things like that can happen. Okay, because gaming is something that all kids like, all people like. So if you can create games and somehow identify the way in which you can engage people, and then find out a way in which you can measure the engagement. Okay, these kinds of opportunities are there. So you have to think out of the box, and you need not be a scientist, you need not be an engineer, you need not be a technologist, but you are master of your own subject, and you have to find out how your subject kind of interacts with the surroundings and with the sustainability field as such, and then get into that. I hope.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.